Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Lyon County Board of County Commissioners for Thursday, March 7th, 2024 to exactly 9 o'clock. I'm calling the meeting to order. Today's agenda action will be taken on all items unless otherwise noted. No action will be taken on any item until it's properly agendized. To avoid meeting disruptions, please place cell phones and beepers in the silent mode or turn them off during the meeting. The board reserves the right to take items in different order to accomplish business in the most efficient manner. Items may be combined for consideration and items may be pulled or removed from the agenda at any time. Restrictions on comments by the general public. Any such restrictions must be reasonable and may restrict the time, place, and manner of the comments, but may not restrict comments based upon viewpoint. And today, Board of Commissioners may convene as other boards. Members of the Board of County Commissioners also serves as the Liquor Board, Central Lyon Vector Control District Board, Mason Valley Mosquito Abatement District Board, Walker River Weed Control District Board, Willow Creek General Improvement District Board, the Silver Springs General Improvement District Board, and during this meeting may convene as any of those boards as indicated on this or a separately posted agenda. Also, this meeting may break between 11:30 and 1:30 for lunch. We do have a long agenda today. That may happen. Today's roll call, we have all commissioners in chambers. And today's invocation will be given by John Poundstone of Joy Church. He's on Zoom. Please rise.
Heavenly Father, thank you for the awesome privilege it is to gather in your presence. We ask for your wisdom today over these proceedings. Your scripture clearly tells us to honor authority and our public and governmental officials. And so I speak honor and I speak blessing. Lord, I'm reminded this morning that no agenda item is trivial. I want to thank you, oh God, for these commissioners' diligence and rigor. Oftentimes the seemingly most trivial agenda item can have the most long-reaching effect. So thank you for their practice. Thank you for their, again, diligence. Father, your word also tells us to maintain the spirit of unity through the bond of peace. And may that happen this morning and as we go forward. God, thank you so much for the awesome privilege it is to have access to our local government. And once again, thank you for the service of our government officials. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Commissioner Kelvin, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public participation. No action will be taken on any item until it's properly agendized. It is anticipated that public participation will be held at this time, though it may be returned to at any time during the agenda. Citizens wishing to speak during public participation are asked to state their name for the record. Will be limited to 3 minutes. The board will conduct public comment after discussion of each agenda action item, but before the board takes any action. Do I have any public comments this morning? Seeing none on Zoom. Okay. Oh, yes, ma'am. Please come up to the. If it is not agendized,
I'm sorry.
yeah. We will talk about public comment at each agenda item. All right, then we don't have any public comment. We will move on to item 5 for possible action, a review and adoption of agenda.
Chair Hockaday, on item 14C, I believe it says LYSO and I believe it should say LCSO.
Correct. So I'll make the correction to LCSO on item 14C, LCSO Training Center, and I think it was on the backup.
Yes.
So correction to the agenda on those 2 areas. Anything further? If I could have a motion on the agenda, adopting the agenda with the correction made for the spelling error.
I'll move that we adopt the agenda as corrected.
Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Hendricks and second by Commissioner Henderson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. And item 6, presentation of awards and or recognition of accomplishments. And today with presentation for Donna Cup with a retirement plaque. And thank you for her 34 years of service to the communities of Lyon County. Sheriff Pope.
Good morning, Lyon County Sheriff Brad Pope for the record. Today, this is very odd speaking from here, having everybody behind me, but doing a presentation. But today we heard, excuse me, are here to thank Donna Cup for 34 years of commitment to the communities and citizens of Lyon County. Donna Cup began her employment 34 years ago. And when you retire after 34 years with any agency, any business, that's a rare feat these days. We think back to the technology changes that have happened since Donna Cup has been employed here as a dispatch manager and as a dispatcher, the Lyon County Sheriff's Office. And as the dispatch manager, she's led us through those technology changes and adapting our dispatch center to serve the citizens and community of Lyon County the best way possible. The sense of duty and service to the citizens of Lyon County is sorry, I wrote this, but is definitely shown in her family with her husband Jim retiring from the Lyon County Sheriff's Office, her daughter-in-law Heather working in the same dispatch center, and her son Anthony being employed as a deputy with the Lyon County Sheriff's Office as well. And we all know that sense of duty, comes from the matriarch of the family. So we appreciate Donna Cup's service to Lyon County. I believe that I am at least the 6th sheriff that Donna Cup has served under. It's an honor, but it's also a very tough burden to fill her shoes. But it is an honor to present her with our plaque and to have served with her for so many years in her official capacity. We do hate to see her go, and we have a very large void to fill, losing her expertise and her abilities as the dispatch manager. So with that, I would like to present Donna with this plaque and thank her for her years of service. Large group of family dispatchers, which are also family here. You guys want to come up and take a picture? Might you take?
I was gonna say.
There we go. I don't know those cameras here. 1, 2, 3. An elevated view. Yeah.
Wait,
Real quick. Boy, anyone.
before anybody leaves, let's make sure he did a good.
Invitation. You guys, you get in. On the outside.
Here, come on in. Okay. Can I jump in and ask for one of just Donna's family
Whatever you.
of the immediate? So All right, y'all know where you are. Get up here. Ron, that's really funny. Say stop.
I just want to say thank you. The 34 years of craziness and chaos that I brought to my family and my friends could have only happened with them and their support. So thank you so much.
Okay, we're going to move on to item 7, commissioners and county manager reports. Let's start with Commissioner Jacobson.
Thank you, Chairman Hockaday. First, just want to thank Ms. Cup. 34 years is amazing, and that will be a huge void to fill for sure. Just want to thank Fernley High School for hosting the annual STEM festival, getting those kids interested in those areas, possible jobs down the road, etc. Did a nice job. Want to thank that committee for putting that together. I don't know about the other commissioners, but I did get some calls on the tumbleweeds. We had excess winds of 80 miles per hour, and I did get some pictures sent to me, and it is amazing. It's amazing. The piles of tumbleweeds and that blew into some of these folks' properties, and I don't know. We live in a high desert. I had a bunch that I've been cleaning up too, but some did get hit harder than others, and for that is too bad. Attended the Fernley City Council meeting. Also NDOT attended a nice NDOT meeting yesterday in Dayton. Drove around some of the new developments. But I want to thank NDOT for those implementing their plans for implementing some safety measures along that Highway 50 corridor, especially that 6-mile stretch in there. Also, so they're resurfacing plans and keeping that road up to snuff. So want to thank them. And want to congratulate the Smith Valley boys, their state runner-up in the playoffs, basketball playoffs. Also, the Fernley girls were state runner-ups. And I know the Fernley boys just fell short, but it was a fun tournament. So that's all I have at this time, Chair Hockaday.
Okay. Commissioner Keller.
Thank you, Commissioner Hockaday. I attended the Silver Springs Advisory Board, the Nevada NACO Association of Counties General Board meeting. At that meeting, we had a presentation by Chris Dancy from Renewables and Organization Senior Project Manager, Charles Hutchinson from Environmental Planner and Power Engineers with Nevada Energy. And they provided the presentations on renewable energy projects in Nevada and also on the Green Link project from the NV Energy side. Mr. Dancy gave us an overview of renewable energy profile in Nevada with 59 large scale geothermal, solar plus storage, and hydro, wind, and biomass, and other supported private solar projects and service and under development. He also covered the standards for the renewable energy and the development process flow. And it's really in a lot of detail into that. It went by, as soon as you start making an application, it's at least 5 years to get a project up to where they will take that onto their lines. I also attended NACO Association of Counties Legislative Committee, and we basically just recapped the 2023 session, the goals of what the committee was going to do, and what their activities are happening right now during the interim. Attended the National Association of Public Lands and Natural Resources Committee, and quite a bit happened on that. I'll probably talk a little bit more on an agenda item moving up. Attended the Fallon Range Intergovernmental Executive Committee and working through the process out at the base. Northern Nevada Development Authority. Attended the Lyon County Regional Transportation Commission, where we approved to reimburse the city of Yerington for eligible expenses in the amount of $109,679 for a type 2 slurry and Cape Seal on various streets within the city of Yerington. An expenditure of up to $1 million for the East Goldfield Avenue project, and authorize the county comptroller to pay those invoices. And we also approved the 24-25 RTC budget. And last night I attended the Fernley City Council meeting, and that was it.
Commissioner Hendricks.
I attended the Carson Water Subconservancy District meeting, and it looks like we're going to have some issues coming up, maybe again regarding water with Lyon County and Churchill County. Attended the NACO Public Lands and Natural Resources Board. Later this month, we're going to have a workshop to establish best practices for the industrial solar projects. And once we have that established, we'll share it with all the other counties in the state. I attended the school board meeting and accompanied Andrew out to Hodges Transportation and got to have a look at that facility. Attended the Silver Springs Advisory Board and a meeting with NDOT yesterday in Dayton. Had to spend a day going through the jury duty process, but I was not picked, so I'm still able to be here today. Attended the Dayton Advisory Board last night.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I attended a unofficial SLUPAC meeting last month. The reason it was unofficial is we didn't have a quorum, but the Deputy Attorney General said we could go ahead and listen to presentations. We just couldn't take any action. So we heard the presentations on the Southern Nevada Strong Regional Plan update. We also heard a presentation from BLM about their resource management planning in Nevada, which we all know they're trying to do a statewide plan, which I just don't think that's possible, but we'll see. And then also had a presentation on the Nevada Department of Wildlife subdivision map review regulations, which is something that we need to maintain attention on. Also attended the NACO Legislative Committee, but Commissioner Keller took care of that, briefed that. I would like to thank Commissioner Keller for filling in for me with the NACO Board of Directors. I was unable to be there. I attended the Mound House Advisory Board meeting on Tuesday. Wow, that's all I have to say. A lot of people were there, and the main focus was traffic safety on Highway 50 in Mound House. There was some discussion, of course, about the community center, which I have named the Albatross, but we'll discuss that later. But the main focus was on, what we need to do to get NDOT to take action as soon as possible. One thing that, and Campo was there to present this, and they did a really good job. But one thing that they brought out was that the director of NDOT has opened a scoping process for the intersections of Highlands and Red Rock, which is where that young lady was struck. And something needs to be done out there. There's been 3 fatalities in the last 5 years. They've all been pedestrians. I also attended the Dayton Regional Advisory Board last night by Zoom, and that was interesting. And then finally, Mr. Chair, I want to announce that I will not be running for re-election. This is a decision that my wife and I made probably 18 months ago. However, that being said, I will continue to work hard and fulfill all the responsibilities of this office until my term is over. And with that, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Well, I've attended several meetings, probably one of the meetings that is fairly interesting for this local area would be the East Walker Road, dealing with the Mineral County Solar Panel Project and use of East Walker Road for transportation from 208 over to their county project. The concern that I have, of course, with that would be the health and or not health, but services and things that we provide on the road. And so we'll continue discussing that issue into the future after that meeting. At the Conservation District meeting, discussion on the amount of water we're getting, which is great. We all love water, but of course with water comes weeds and tumbleweeds and fire. And so the Conservation District is involved in both fire prevention and weed control. So they're going to have quite a job this coming spring and summer. The meeting in Dayton at the Utilities Building with NDOT for the 50 corridor, we all had a chance to get a review of that project. Smith Valley Advisory Board last night had some good items that we covered. Of course, agenda meeting that I attend every other week, but definitely want to congratulate Smith Valley and Fernley for the runner-up status on their games, along with Commissioner Jacobson. So with that, I will move on to the county manager.
Good morning, Andrew Haskin, Lyon County Manager, for the record. Just a couple of things I wanted to mention this morning. So first off, Louis Carriola stepped down as our Community Development Director. He's staying on as Senior Planner with Lyon County. But I did want to announce that and let everyone know that we are accepting applications for that position at this time. Also in Community Development, our Code Enforcement Officer, Michael Johnson, retired as of last Friday. So wish him well in retirement. We are also accepting applications for that and hope to have somebody on board with that real soon. So in the interim, I am the Community Development Director again and the Code Enforcement Officer. So if you have any code enforcement complaints, wait until we hire somebody. Anyway, so that's something that it's taken up a bit of time.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
So what are you gonna do about the tumbleweeds?
I have too received a few phone calls about the tumbleweeds, so yeah, that's a tough one. I did want to let the board know that I did submit letters to the Bureau of Land Management regarding the two solar projects, the Libra Solar and the Artemisia Solar project here in Mason Valley. So the Libra Solar was commenting on their draft environmental EIS, environmental impact statement. And so asking them to take a look at some alternatives for traffic going to and from the site, construction traffic. They're projecting quite a few trucks every day, several hundred trucks every day. And so that'll have quite an impact on East Walker Road during construction. So we asked them to take a look at alternatives that would pave East Walker Road up to the turnoff, or look at a couple of other alternative routes that could be taken. With the Artemisia one, we cited our land use policy, or excuse me, our public lands use policy, and we actually asked for an extension of time on their variance process until they can come and make a presentation to the county commission. I haven't heard back as to whether or not that has been granted yet, but we did hear back that they did receive our comments. And again, very similarly with access, it dealt with viewshed, and it also dealt with other issues relating to multiple use, because I know that there's cattle grazing and other uses on those lands as well. And our policy on renewable energy, states that those impacts should be considered. And so we did let BLM know about that. And if any of you are interested in, or any of the public are interested in the letters that I submitted, just let me know and I can get those to you. And then finally, I got a letter or an email from Kim Brook, who is the Deputy Chief of Staff and Legislative Director for Congressman Amade. And it says, I'll just go ahead and read it to you real quick. It says, "Good morning, Andrew. This weekend, the House Appropriations Committee released the final text of the FY24 Interior Appropriations Bill, which we can confirm includes $2.75 million to Lyon County for the water main replacement in Dayton, which Representative Amade personally submitted to the committee. We anticipate this to be passed by both the House and Senate this week, which I do know that it passed the House yesterday. And will be making its way through the Senate and be signed into law shortly thereafter. Following that, EPA will reach out to Lyon County to begin processing the FY24 funds. So congratulations to you and Lyon County, and thank you for putting forward a strong application. Let me know if you have any questions. So I know that
Yeah, money.
I know that we have received a lot of questions about trips to going back to DC or hiring representation back there, but I want to stress that I do believe that is important, and this is evidence of that. I really want to thank Congressman Amade and the rest of our delegation, because we do have 3 other requests that are working their way through on the Senate side as well. So every dollar that we can bring back into Lyon County means that we have other funds to spend on other projects.
Like a community center.
So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, Commissioner Hicks? Commissioner Henderson? Hello.
I noticed that if you Google tumbleweeds for sale, you'll be surprised at how much they're selling them for. There's even like they make lights out of them for like $7,000, and we got a prop.
Next time I get somebody calling me about it, I will suggest that they take a look at that business enterprise.
Okay.
We have a few
I
That's
think
right,
I was
because-
just using them for a wiener roast. God dang.
Yeah, because
Go ahead, Commissioner Jacobson.
I had a chat this week with the gentleman with renewable energy, and in our conversation, he brought up an interesting point or question or comment. I'm not sure what it was, but it resonated with me as I understand solar energy. I'm not always fond of where we put them, and I definitely don't like driving by and seeing them. I'd rather see the wildlife and our natural vegetation, just on a personal note. But he was bringing up the fact that we have all these warehouses in Lyon County and around. Why don't we mandate, or why is there a way we can move some of these solar fields to warehousing rooftops? And I was like, that's a great question. It would definitely ease my eyes. Has that been brought up, or is that a consideration when we're approving warehousing, that we take solar fields off of these places? Because anymore, it doesn't seem like a lot. But if you were to go out just in the industrial part of Fernley alone, there's solar potential there that would take them off the land. And I'm just curious, is that something that anyone discusses, looks at when you attend these solar meetings?
To be honest, no. I think it's not something that BLM has brought up just because these are BLM specific projects. I mean, it's an interesting point. But it's not something that we currently would require in our county code either. So
I just wanted to put it out there that, I don't know, I think we could maximize some of that space that's already concrete and not used by wildlife, ranchers, hikers, whatever. So I just throwing that out there as discussion, not. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Any further questions? And I honestly thought with the renewable energy, you're going to talk about burning tumbleweeds for heat. It just seemed like it'd go along with the conversation. Yeah, very, very fast. Number 8, elected official reports. Have any sheriffs coming up?
That ends your streak at 1.
Good morning, Lyon County Sheriff Brad Pope. It's gonna be a quick report, I promise. We'll let the board know that we did receive our new canine. Her name is Linda, named after one of our donors, Linda Martin. Also like to note that the Lions Club here in Yerington provided substantial funds to purchase that dog as well. And she's going to be assigned to the schools, to the school resource officer. She is imprinted on all narcotics, including marijuana, and she's also imprinted on detecting firearms. We hope that she has a long career and never finds one, because they're not in our schools, but yeah, just wanted to share that with you guys, so. That's all I got.
Any questions? Yes, Commissioner Jacobson.
My understanding it's a German short hair. So do you lease her out on weekends to chucker hunters, or is that?
Yeah. No, it's got to all go to the general fund, though, I've been told by Josh. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we'll move on to appointed official reports. We have any appointed officials that want to get up and talk? I don't see anybody on Zoom, and obviously nobody's getting up in here. Advisory board reports. We are moving along. Nobody here, nobody on Zoom. Consent agenda. Action will be taken on all items. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine and may be acted upon by the Board of Commissioners with one action and without an extensive hearing. Any member of the board or any citizen may request that an item be taken from the consent agenda, discussed and acted upon separately during the meeting. So let's see if we have any commissioners that want to bring up anything on the consent agenda. No. Any public input on the consent agenda? Seeing none, I will look for a motion for items 11A through 11I.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda items 11A through 11I.
Second.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Henderson and a second by Commissioner Keller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passes 5-0. So we are going to move down to the regular agenda, and action will be taken on all items listed otherwise noted. Item 12, public hearing on planning items for possible action to approve the request for a commercial subdivision tentative map request from San Lucas to merge 5 existing parcels on the north side of Highway 50, east and west of Traditions Parkway, to establish an approximately 125.13 acre commercial subdivision, creating the boundaries of the Traditions Commercial Center to allow for future commercial, retail, office, light industrial, and multifamily residential development, including a site for the new Lyon County offices in Dayton. This will be APN 016-401-97, 016-406-11, 016-406-19, 016-406-20, 029-782-16, PLZ 2023-079. This was, of course, brought before earlier meeting, and we had some changes to it. So go ahead.
Right. Good morning, Commissioners. Lisa Nash, Senior Planner. We did see this at last month's commission meeting. This is as described for the Traditions Commercial Tentative Subdivision. And we'll kind of go through this quickly, get to the changes that were applicable as we went through this last month. We had a BLA, a boundary line adjustment, come in just prior to hearing this at last month's commission meeting. And as you can see, 3 of the APNs were removed That's 016-401-93, 016-406-03, two of them, sorry, and they were replaced with 016-406-19 and 016-406-20. This now matches up. The change was a result of the boundary line adjustment to make the government complex center a separate property. And it didn't affect the acreages or anything else. It just was the record keeping. And thank you again, Commissioner Keller, for catching that last time so we could have the record straight. So going through real quick, nothing has changed on the application. There's no differences. Would you like me to go through it again for public? Does anybody?
I don't need. it,
Okay.
so,
Great,
Anybody?
then we'll just
Nope.
skip down to go through the findings we found. I did want to bring up one thing. Since the last meeting, we got an additional notice from NDOT. We told you they were in process. They'd already had approvals going. And the last 2 points talking about Highway 50 and the intersection, the letter from NDOT gave milestones for when the intersection has to be signalized. And they said in that letter that it's at 230 homes in Traditions Village 1 and the county complex. And they expect that to be constructed in approximately 1 year or so. So additional improvements to the approach to Traditions Parkway, which would include one left turn lane, one left through lane, and one additional right turn lane. All of these have to be provided by the developer. It is not something Lyon County controls, but NDOT keeps us informed of what's going on with this. And that letter came in just a week or so ago. So I thought I would bring it up here as the traffic's an important issue. And as we said, I added the note that we continued this so we could get the APNs correct. And I think that is it, unless you have additional questions for me.
Questions, Commissioner Hendricks? Nope. No. Henderson? Commissioner Keller? Okay. Any public comment? Okay.
If
Good morning.
you could please sign your name.
I
on
will
that
do
document.
that.
Perfect.
My name is Amy English. I'm a homeowner and resident adjacent to the proposed development. For the most part, I think that this is really good for economic development for the residents there, multifamily, livability, all of those different things. My concern comes up with the casino and the RV park directly next to some of the new homes that were put in there. On the proposal, this is directly next to the residential homes. It looks like more than 75 RV spots next to some of the currently most expensive homes that were just put in there. I am concerned that this will undermine property values, increase safety concerns by supporting a possible transient population. Several of the homes, which will be directly next to this RV park, are in the process of closing or moving in. These residents were not notified, nor have they had the opportunity to find out about this or before they purchase their homes. I ask that the board consider context sensitive planning and not approve this as proposed. And the main question is would you want an RV park next to your house? That's all I have.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Any further commissioner comments? Okay, we will move on. Do I have a motion on this?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the request for a commercial subdivision tentative map request from Stan Lucas to merge 5 existing parcels on the north side of Highway 50 east and west of Traditions Parkway to establish an approximately 1.25.13 acre commercial subdivision, creating the boundaries of the Traditions Commercial Center to allow for future commercial, retail, office, light industrial, and multifamily residential developments, including a site for the new Lyon County offices in Dayton. APN 016-401-97 016-406 11 016-406-19 016-406-20, 029-782-16, PLZ 2023-079, based on the findings and subject to the conditions of approval as listed in the staff report.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Henderson and a second by Commissioner Hendricks. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? This motion passes 5-0. I'll move on to 12B for possible action to approve a zoning map amendment request from Lyon County to amend the zoning map designation from the Title 10 district of M-1 General Industrial, Title 10 to Title 15 District of PF, which is public facilities, for a 0.57 acre lot located at 56 Red Rock Road in Mound House, APN 016-233-06, PLZ 2024-004. Staff report. Hey, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa Nash, Senior Planner. So we are here today to talk about the zoning map amendment for the Mound House Community Center. The current zoning on the 0.57 acre parcel is M1 General Industrial, and we, as the county, are requesting zoning to public facilities to be consistent with the master plan land use. That's a designation of public, quasi-public. The site is the former Central Lyon Fire District Fire Station and is in the process of conversion to community center for many. The property is located at 56 Red Rock Road. That's approximately 2,000 feet north of Highway 50 on the east side of Red Rock Road between Black Rock Road and Hennett Pike Drive. You can see the location with the red squares. So it's a relatively flat topography surrounded by developed lots, and it is currently master plan designations in the area are split between employment to the south, that's the gray color, and mostly suburban residential to the north, east, and west. There is the exception of the other publicly owned properties, the purplish square up to the northeast is for Central Lyon Fire Protection District's future use, and that's located at 158 Garnet Circle. And there's a county-owned public park, the green, just directly south of our property here at 52 Red Rock Road. So the current zoning, as you can see on the left, they're mainly residential with some public and private uses to the north and mainly industrial to the south and southwest. To the east is Moonlight Bunny Ranch on a 20-acre parcel, and other surrounding properties are a mix of single-family homes and industrial property. And we're looking, like I said, to turn this into a public facilities, which is appropriate for the use of the building. So here are the 3 findings that are required for a zoning map amendment. And with the 2020 master plan update, it was recognized that this parcel should be public, quasi-public, and the application to change the zoning to public facilities brings the zoning in compliance with the master plan land use designation that exists. At the Planning Commission on February 13th, the application was approved unanimously, and they recommended forwarding a recommendation approval to this board. Staff also agrees with that recommendation that the rezoning based on the findings is listed in the staff report, bring this property into conformance with the current comprehensive master plan. And there's a recommended motion if you so choose to do so. And I'm here for any questions.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner, questions, comments? No? Public? Seeing none? Motion.
I'd like to make a motion. Based on the formed findings, I move that the Lyon County Board of Commissioners approve the zoning map amendment request from Lyon County to change the zoning district from N1 General Industrial Title 10 to Public Facilities Title 15 for a 0.57 acre parcel located at 56 Red Rock Road, Mount House, APN 016-233-06, LZ 2024-004.
Second.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Keller and a second by Commissioner Jacobson. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Okay. We have the sheriff who would like to come up. We're going to 13A for possible action. Approve the Joining Forces Project Agreement Grant Change Order in the amount of $8,000 and to allow the sheriff's office to purchase one Sotoxa system at the cost of $4,500 and 5 Draeger model 5920 preliminary breath test machines at $700 each, which is another $3,500, which makes 8,000. And you're up.
Lyon County Sheriff Brad Pope again for the third time. For the record, but, our deputies that run the OTS program that manage this grant have identified equipment needs for DUI enforcement and drug enforcement. So we're just asking that we change those $8,000 in funds that were approved to purchase that equipment.
Commissioners, any questions on that? Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So these are OTS funds?
Yes.
They're a great organization.
The joining
Anything
forces.
else? Any public comment? Seeing none, I'll look for a motion.
I move that we approve the Joining Forces Project Agreement Grant Change Order in the amount of $8,000 and allow the sheriff's office to purchase one Sotaxa system at the cost of $4,500 and 5 Draeger model 5920 preliminary breath test machines at $700 each.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hendricks, second by Commissioner Henderson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. 13B for possible action, approve $14,500 in upfit costs for sheriff's vehicles for various items with funding to come from a budget transfer from the general fund contingency. Go ahead.
So when we received our vehicles, I think everybody is aware of the cost of everything has risen. So our upfitting these vehicles has become a little bit more expensive. What our initial budget was for. That includes 2 bed covers for our pickup trucks. They're $749 a piece. We assigned the pickup trucks to our range master and to the sergeant in charge of the drones. They can't fit the majority of their equipment into an SUV, but it does go into the bed of a pickup truck nice. We'd like to protect that equipment from the elements. So we need a bed cover, also a camper shell for one of the pickup trucks. Help protect our equipment, and that's at $2,150 and $100 for the installation. We had 2 admin cars that were Dodge Chargers that we were driving around. We had a shortage of police cars available to get out on the street for our deputies. So we took those cars from administrators and upfitted them to patrol models, basically adding light packages, the cage for their protection when they're transporting an inmate, the computer mounts, etc. Everything that would go into a normal patrol deputy's vehicle, we had to add to that car. And they had very low miles on them when we transferred them over to the deputies. So they need to be upfitted to be able to work. And that's a total of $8,802. So that's where that $14,000, that number is coming from. It's necessary equipment for the patrol vehicle.
Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I'm just, it's just a curiosity question. When you take a vehicle out of service, do you recycle everything that you can, the light bars, the cages, or do we just start new?
The way I understand it, they do.
They do recycle?
That'd be a question more appropriate for the garage, but I believe they do.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious about that. So I will ask them.
Anything further? No? Okay, any public comment? Seeing none, I'll look for a motion.
Chair Huckabee, I'll make a motion that we approve the $14,500 in upfit costs for the sheriff vehicles for various items with funding to come from budget transfer from the general fund contingency.
Second.
Okay. Have a motion by Commissioner Jacobson and a second by Commissioner Henderson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
You bet, sir.
Take a break.
Yeah, we can take a break. We'll go for 5. It's 9:50. It's come back right about 9:55.
Thank you. We
One
gotta
more
put the
minute.
sheriff out on a search.
Yeah.
I know where it is.
All right. You'll owe us 3 minutes. You calculate that out at our pay, that's what, about 20 cents?
Maybe, yes.
Good. I think that's a good idea.
Blame the sheriff.
All right. A little levity is always good. Item 14A for possible action. Discussion, provide direction to the county manager for the lobbyist selection of 2025. Go ahead.
Andrew Haskin, Lyon County Manager for the record. So you'll remember last year we had a discussion on who we were going to use for lobbyists. The board had directed me to do some research on it. We ended up sticking with the Walkers, but you'll remember they were originally going to retire. And then they stuck around for last session, and then they were going to retire again. Well, in speaking with Mary, they are planning on sticking around for the 2025 session as well, and they'll be working with Story and Douglas counties. So, I really just kind of wanted to bring this item before the board today to see, what your preference is. Do we want to stick with the Walkers for the 2025 session? Do we want to go out and start looking for another lobbyist to represent us for the legislature here at the state level? Really just kind of see what the preference is there. If we do decide to go and look for another lobbyist, what the process would be so that I can start working on that. I realize that it's March and the session doesn't start until January, February timeframe, but that'll be here before we know it.
Mhm.
So with that, I pretty much just turn it over to the board and get your thoughts.
Direction. But
Yeah, since this is just for to provide direction, I'm happy with the Walkers. They're familiar with what our needs are and everything else, and I don't see the point of going out for a new one. But in the future, I really want this board to consider possibly having our own lobbyist internal to our needs, because I'm seeing that there's a little competition about or I shouldn't say competition, but maybe conflict of interest with other counties, and trying to, come to a consensus instead of what our needs are and fighting just for our county. It's more of a consensus thing when you have someone represent a lot of counties. So that's what I'd like to see in the future moving forward. But for right now, through this interim, move forward, they're still, I'd recommend them.
Commissioner Jacobson.
It seemed like the last go around, we had a couple different lobbyists come in and throw a pitch, so to speak. Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, we had one lobbyist come in and talk, I had talked to several, before bringing it to the board. We looked at a number of different things. Conflicts were an issue with other lobbyists, and cost, but, so I had brought one forward. The board opted not to go with that contract at that time, so, so.
Is that something that if we don't go with the walkers, that might be something we want to do, is bring them back in to see, have them give a pitch if we don't get our own lobbyist? Or I guess I'm just looking towards the future. What process works the best? I don't know if it's a true vetting, but just kind of hearing what other groups have to say and how what they say and how we can hold them to some of their commitments. And then, like you said, I'm sure the prices varies.
Yeah, so absolutely. I mean, if we were to make a switch, I would absolutely have different groups come in and do a presentation to the board so that we have a little more information on how that would go. Like I said, we were under kind of a time crunch last time, and so I had kind of held those meetings myself and brought a recommendation back, but we've got more time now, so that would be how I would handle it, would be to do that. As far as bringing somebody on internally, I think that's a great idea. I would love to do it. I don't believe we have the budget for that this year, and I know that's we're getting at that. But certainly a goal that we could work towards in the future.
Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I have no problem with the walkers, and especially since we have engaged them to work this interim session.
Mhm.
I think the time to change lobbyists is after a legislative session, not going into one.
Mhm.
So that you have that year and a half to develop your relationships and stuff. I agree that maybe we should have a lobbyist strictly for Lyon County and not partner with other counties, because we do have conflicts. I do agree to you. I don't think we can afford an in-house lobbyist due to the burden cost. And then there's some other responsibility stuff, but as far as for 2025, I'm good with sticking with the walkers, and then looking at that as that session comes to, or at the close of the 2025 session. I think that's the time you need to have the discussion about your lobbyists for 2027.
Okay. And if that's the direction that the board ultimately decides today, I would probably actually start bringing it back as early as this fall, just because during session, everyone is running around everywhere. It's pretty crazy. I know I'm super busy. All the lobbyists are super busy, so I would want to start that pretty quickly.
Yeah, well, like I said, the 6 months after the legislative session ends until the start of the new year, that's the time when you lock somebody in.
Yeah.
Because if you start before the session, you're right, everybody's going to be too busy. But you've got that 6 months where the interim committees aren't really meeting, and so that's the time to recruit and determine who you want to use for 27.
Commissioner Jacobson.
Wes, were you making a pitch to be the Lyon County in your next life, the Lyon County lobbyist?
I can't say the word out loud, but there's there's a word before the word no. It has 4 letters.
Okay, thank you for being
You
clear
could
on
at
that.
least consider it for a minute. I mean,
Nope.
Commissioner Keller, did you have something further?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that the interim committees that are meeting, the state in the past, they're trying to make it a full-time. They work to go on full-time, and I think they're trying to do that right now. So it's interim, but they're trying to go full-time. So we're going to need to stay on top of it.
Yeah, and that's absolutely, as Commissioner Henderson mentioned, the walkers are representing us for the interim session. And so I've been receiving regular reports on that, and I have been following it. I've tuned into at least one. I've tuned into one meeting, and I'm sure there'll be more.
I'm happy with the job that the Walkers did for us. I do like the idea of having our own lobbyist, but I also understand that that can't happen at this time, but in the future, that would be the ideal situation.
Yeah, and if we did that, I mean, we would look at kind of combining that with another position so
Right.
that.
And-
it's-
Mr. Chair.
Okay.
It was a full-time deal.
Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. I just want to. Yeah, I've been involved in the legislature for way too many years, but just want to point out that even the local government entities that have employees dedicated to lobbying, almost every one of them also go out and hire professional lobbyists to help. So just keep that in mind.
I had one.
Commissioner Keller.
And if we do in the future, look at that, I was looking at more if you're going to share that position to an assistant manager, because we plan on bringing a lot more projects. Your plate's going to get even fuller than it is already with not having people that are, the open positions. So I think it's something to work for.
In my opinion, I've been very happy working with the Walkers. Their updates and like on the interim session, keeping us posted has been phenomenal, really. Excellent work. And our updates during the legislative session has been terrific. I know that Commissioner Henderson and I were attending the updates monthly during the session, and very, very beneficial to understand what's going on with them and with working with you and Josh. So I do appreciate that. So I'm very much in favor of keeping them on board. So I would say that would be our direction to you. So we will have a motion. Well, I'm going to have a public comment here too. If anybody
And
has comment.
I have a
but
question too.
Yeah, go ahead. We'll
Okay.
finish up with the commissioner comments and questions, then we'll do public, and then we'll do a motion. Go ahead.
No, I can just,
Okay,
well, actually the question I have,
Yeah.
is what I would like to see, and this is just my thoughts, is if this is going the way I think it is, I would like to see the end date of contract to be the June 30th, to the end of the session.
Mhm.
That's just,
all right. Any public comment? Nope, seeing none, then I will look for a motion for this direction.
Mr. Chair, I move that we direct the county manager to enter into an agreement with Walker and Associates for lobbyist services for the 2025 legislative session with the contract ending June 30th, 2025.
Second.
Okay, super. Motion by Commissioner Henderson and a second by Commissioner Keller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. 14B for possible action, update on the potential Lyon County lands bill and provide direction to the county manager.
Andrew Haskin, Lyon County Manager. So, I'm sorry, I'm waiting for the map. I wasn't looking for somebody else.
You're sounding so pessimistic.
No, the other one. Yeah. That's interesting. I labeled them now. Sorry, it's a big file. It takes a minute to load. Anyway, I'll just kind of get started while we're looking at that. So, one of the meetings in January, the board directed me to come back with an update, the first meeting in March. Here we are. And so I, have been working with the Urington Paiute tribe on, their request. Chairman M is here today as well. So, if we have any questions, sure he'd be happy to answer some. But I wanted to bring an updated map back before the board. So we have consolidated everything into one lands bill as we discussed at that meeting. There's a couple things that are not on this map that I will add, but they're small. One of them is, well, actually both of them are tower sites, radio tower sites here in the south end of the county. Just as we did in the north end. It took us a bit of time, took me a bit of time to track down the legal descriptions. I finally have them, so that's why they're not on the map. Jeremy Drew at RCI requested on them, so we have that. Another potential change will actually be here just north of 3T here. There's a strip of land kind of in between two private properties there. That's the dairy there. They had previously asked to be included for that little piece because it separates part of their operation. I will add that in as a Lyon County request, and then we can figure that out and work with them later on that. But just that little piece.
You could probably put the cursor on it.
So with that, as I mentioned, we have been working with the Urington Paiute tribe. They've been really great to work with, and so. Yeah. It even works. So
Karen.
I wanted to go over their requests here. So there's 6 different parcels that we're looking at, but really kind of lumped into 3 requests. The majority being down here in Mason Valley, adjacent to their current reservation. And they're requesting that for tribal housing expansion and for cultural purposes, cultural preservation. And so, we worked with them. We wanted to make sure that Mason Pass Road here wasn't impacted. And so we were able to work with them on that, and we moved that boundary up a little bit. And then one of the considerations that we had and that we had to work through was different mining claims in that area. What happens with lands bills is usually they're subject to existing rights. So those mining claims don't go away, but they'll have to work with the tribe, if they were to move forward with any of that. So, and if you can move to the next one, please. Oh, yeah. There you go. It's probably running slow because it's, yeah. The 2T right there, if you follow right here. Yeah. And I guess I should have mentioned, so the total request for acreage from the Urington Paiute tribe was 3,231 acres. Ours is 2,672 and 3,418. Remember, we have it split into 2, where we would be asking for some immediately and then some for in the future. Another request that they had was 2T here, and I actually met with Chairman M yesterday on this piece because I had some questions. It's surrounded by private property here, and here, and so access becomes a bit of an issue. And I guess there's private property across the river. But the chairman felt that they would be able to work with the private entities, so they were still interested in this piece here. It is. Let's see here. How many acres? So that one's 593 acres there along the Carson River. We also met with Hodges Transportation, and wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to impact their operation. They did mention that they have a shooting range kind of here on the west end of their operations, and so they wanted to make sure that the tribe was aware, so that if any development were to take place, it wouldn't impact their operations. And talking with the tribe, that sounded like, correct me if I'm wrong, but they would be willing to potentially restrict the development, as a part of this lands bill process on that half of it, which I believe would alleviate any concerns in that area as well. And so, that would just be part of the draft language that we would come back with.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. What's the proposed use for that property?
The proposed use is for cultural preservation. Do you want to?
Yeah, because it's kind of an island, that's why I'm.
It is, yep.
Yeah, okay.
Good morning, honorable board of commissioners, Chairman Huckabee, Manager Haskins. Thank you for working with us, presenting the information through RCI. Jeremy did a great job. I'd just like to, on this particular project, we would like to maintain it for historic and for cultural preservation. If we could use some of these sites just to have gatherings with our community, because it is historical properties of the tribe throughout, history. And we traveled through all of these areas and had home sites and different community events throughout. So that we'd like to just preserve those for our tribe.
Commissioner Keller?
I'm a little concerned because we're losing a lot of our recreation areas. And as we're growing along the river, we don't get spots to go hunting along the river, hunting fish, and that's one of the few spots we got along the river. That's going to shut it off to where we can't use it. And that concerns me.
And that's part of our concern too, because we do not have the traditional hunting areas that we used to have. We were talking about some of the sites throughout the mountain areas here in Sunrise Mountains where, people have turned land into private property and then try to put gates and fences through the roads so that nobody has access. And we have to, support that. Those are thoroughways that have been there for a long time that should never be blocked. So I agree with you that, those types of preservations need to be maintained as well.
Where we can have people besides the tribe use that property.
I'm sure we could. I don't see a problem with that. That's something I'll discuss with our tribal council and let them know that that's one of the options that we'd like to consider.
Thank you.
Commissioner Henderson?
Yeah, thank you. So the take your cursor from 2T and go 45 degrees to the northwest. That's just no. Okay. See the blue line that goes through the parcel kitty corner that's not identified is here, let me.
Mhm.
So right now, that's not included in this lands bill at all, right? But that is BLM land.
Correct.
What if we might want to consider including that to make a hunting fishing preserve and leave it for that. So that we guarantee access to the river.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Andrew Haskin for the record, yeah, that's certainly an option if, what I would propose on that is that, instead of the county asking for that land, yeah, maybe I would just say that it's withdrawn from future consideration, and that way nobody can ever develop on it unless the county would.
I'm good with that. Kind of, yeah. I mean, I'd rather keep it public land where we get told for it than.
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah, because
But yeah, I would like something like that to ensure access to the river there.
Yeah, and the county owns some land along the river here for Rolling Day as well, so. That's certainly something.
Commissioner Keller, you have something in addition?
no, since we have to pay for the land when we get it, I like the route you're going.
I agree.
Yeah, so good points there. So we'll proceed on. Anything further?
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
there is.
thank you, sir.
If you can scroll over to Mount House, so. Please. Kind of zoom in on. So this was the other request from the tribe. It's 1,311 acres here, kind of right in the corner of the county. We've taken a look at that. There weren't any conflicting mining claims. We didn't there's no county facilities on that. We have a water tank on this one here, and here. And so this, like I said, this was one of their other requests that, seems reasonable here in the Mound House area. I did want to bring up, that when we were originally working with the tribe on this, they had asked about some of these parcels in here along, in Mound House as well. And there was quite a few, mining claims in there. Whether or not they would actually get mined, I don't know, because they're right there in the middle of town. But the board had also directed me to take a look at some of these island pieces as well. And you'll notice I didn't include them on the map yet. And I wanted to bring it forward to the board, and that's part of the provide direction today. That I'm asking for is, you know, are there any parcels that the board thinks make sense there? And would like to see included. There's a couple different ways we could go about it. We could go about it like we've done in some of the other areas, and have that land be transferred to the county, but we could also essentially include those parcels in a request that they, you know, that BLM just sells them directly to, you know, whoever applies for it, essentially. So that's something that we can put in the bill, basically, that would direct that to happen. Or we could just leave it as it is. Like I said, when we talked to the tribe about it, you know, we noticed that there was a lot of different claims and things. There was a lot of conflict in there, so it was kind of tough for me to make that call and make that recommendation, you know, without talking to the board first. So I do want to bring that to your attention. The brown here, by the way, is also part of the Carson River Mercury Superfund site. And so, my recommendation would be to stay away from that. So that it doesn't confuse things. So, but kind of up to the board on what you want to do, what your preference is.
Board, any direction on the different spots over near
Could
Mound House?
you highlight them again, please?
Yeah, sure. So this obviously is Highway 50 through
Right.
here, and here's the highway going up to 342 or
Mhm.
341 going up to Virginia City. So we've got a parcel here, parcel here, and then there's, you know, kind of running up along the highway there. There's stuff in between Dayton and Mound House. I mean, it's really kind of, you know, I mean, there's a lot of acreage there. Keep in mind that the larger we make the lands bill, the more challenging it gets. So,
And
you know,
I mean,
Yes, Commissioner Jacobson.
It seems like some of those properties, BLM have struggled with long-term campers. And now all of a sudden we're assuming some of that responsibility as well.
so all of that area has had its issues with it.
yes.
And so if the county were to take ownership of that, then yes, we would be taking that on. That's why, you know, I'd probably suggest that if we were to go down that road, we would direct, you know, put in the bill that Congress would direct to BLM to directly sell that property so that it's not on us to keep chasing them.
Oh,
Thank
Commissioner
you,
Henderson.
Mr. Keller. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, personally, since I'd rather leave them in open space.
Okay.
You know, I really would. I'd rather just leave them just the way they are because, you know, we're running out of open space in the Dayton area. You know, we really are. And I'd like to go back to 1T again.
Sure.
Before I forget, just, you know, again, what are the future plans for that site?
I believe it's the same. It's historical and cultural preservation. There is one thing I want to bring to the board's attention. There is a road that goes up here to Story County. We would need to maintain ownership of that, just so that there's access up in there for different purposes. But other than that, it's pretty mountainous, and you know, we did have that discussion. You know, I wanted to make sure we're actually going to go out and take a tour.
Yeah, I mean, there's no plans for a casino. That's where I'm going, or a marijuana shop.
Okay.
Okay.
Commissioner Keller.
I just wanted to state mine. I'd leave it, just don't grab it. Leave it the way it is.
I agree. Anything further?
So, Josh just asked me to bring up cost here a little bit, and I do want to mention that, moving forward with the lands bill, all the land that we would be requesting, there is a cost with that, as I've mentioned to the board several times. So that could become quite substantial. I don't have an answer as to how much it's going to cost. Essentially what happens is there's an appraisal after the fact, after the bill gets passed, and then we would figure it out from there. So I do want to let the board know that could become a factor as we move forward as well.
Well, plus the cost and the bill that's lost in the future.
Yeah, the PILT, and then, the other thing is, the county would have to do all the environmental assessments on all of these properties as well. I did talk with Chairman M, and it's a possibility that since it's all kind of in the same area, we might be able to work together on some of that. And so that's something that I would be exploring with the chair in the future.
And just, I don't like to throw acronyms, but PILT is payment in lieu of taxes. The government pays us for the land that they have in our county, so we lose that. If the government gives it to us, then we don't get paid anything for it. It's ours. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just point out though that PILT's about $2 an acre.
Yeah,
So,
not a lot, but it's
and I think the potential for offset that revenue is there.
Mhm.
And now I forgot my question, so.
that's right.
I'll
Commissioner
take that
Keller.
one.
Yeah, Commissioner Keller. Yeah, no, nothing further. Is that in your presentation? I'll ask for public input.
Yeah, that's all I have. Move out of the way here.
Seeing none, we will move on.
So,
to,
sorry, before we move, you're not talking about moving on to the next.
No, not the next item. I'm moving on from public comment to our action.
Perfect, all right.
So
We've got a motion here.
actually, I've got a question.
Commissioner
So,
Henderson, question.
thank you, Mr. Chair. So what do you see as the timeline moving forward, if given whatever direction you're given today, but presuming that the direction is to continue along the path you're going now, the map looks good. What's next? What's the timeline? What are we looking at?
So provided depending on the direction today, if the map looks good with, some minor changes, then I'll be working with RCI to start drafting language for both the resolution and some proposed language for the bill. I imagine, I know Jeremy's on here.
Mhm.
If you could, well, there it is. I don't know if Jeremy has an idea on timeline. Sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah, no problem. Jeremy Drew, for your record, Principal Resource Specialist with Resource Concepts. The map updates, pretty minimal, a week at the most. And then Andrew, you and I would probably have to work for about a week on getting at least some initial resolution language prepared so we could kind of kick something back to the congressionals.
I just to be safe, I'd say probably about another month to get through all that and
So-
get it submitted.
So if that's the direction, then we could probably have this back on the agenda for the first meeting in April.
I believe so.
How about the second meeting?
Let's hold our feet to the fire. Get us stuff done.
Well, but he's got 3 jobs now, okay?
He's quit chasing off his employees.
All right, Commissioner Keller.
Someone speaking with their outward voice in that.
All right, okay, so it sounds like we do have something we can direct on here for a motion to continue.
I'll take a swing at it.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, Mr. Chair, I move that we direct the county manager to continue work on the lands bill map as we discussed today, and to begin drafting of a resolution and to bring that back before the county commission on the first meeting in April.
just a little bit of clarification. So as we discussed today, that means adding the sour sites and.
Adding the tower sites and leaving the other things on Highway 50 off.
And wasn't the one to the northeast of the tribal land? You wanted to make sure that we left that open space or leave it
Yes.
BLM?
Yes.
Okay, so basically leave it absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
That was, but include in the resolution that is removed from future, okay?
Perfect.
Future.
And I guess I should clarify on that. So the blue and red lines there are the proposed pathway for Greenlink. And so, you know, that's obviously a pretty important project. So removed from consideration except for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, now let's get this so that we make the DA happy. And we're not blabbering up here and we actually make a
Sorry.
somewhat of a cognizant resolution. Okay. So I moved, we direct the county manager to continue working on the Lyon County's land spill to include the additional sites for the towers, to leave the spots on 50 the way they are, and to, what was the one I'm supposed to include?
Parcel by the.
Well, yeah, and to include the parcel by the river next to 1T or catty corner 1T.
Two.
For 2T, I'm sorry, 2T. To remain as open space except for approved transmission lines.
Sounds good. Have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
All right.
That was a hard one.
Yeah, motion by Commissioner Henderson and a second by Commissioner Keller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes 5-0. You may proceed.
Perfect. Thank you.
So the next 14C.
Thank you, Chairman Imp, for being here
Yeah,
today.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, appreciate that. We'll continue working together. Thank you. For possible action, approve letters of support on behalf of the Board of Commissioners for community project funding requests. You all had a chance to look at those. I made a couple of corrections on the most vehicle retrofit letter. Just grammatical changes, and otherwise they were all good to go. So we need to approve the letters. Let's see, Commissioner comments or questions?
Are we gonna have to go through these one by one, or are we gonna
I don't
do
believe
one?
so.
Okay,
Yeah.
then I have,
Law.
Yeah,
I have a comment.
but if you do, yeah, if you have a comment, then we'll move down the list wherever you have a comment and proceed with that. I know it's probably about the community center.
How'd you guess? Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, the only thing on the community center. Yeah, we discussed it. It says that Central Lyon County Fire Protection District donated. They did not donate. We traded. So I like that.
Right.
We can.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was caught this morning. So that's not a problem there. And on the most, it was just basically putting most at the top of the letter at the
Yeah.
beginning and then using it throughout the letter rather than having it everywhere in the letter. That was about the only change on that one. So as you read them, that's kind of the way they're going through. If there's no other comments, do we have any public comment on anything that maybe anybody's read? If not, then I'll look for a motion to approve the letters of support.
Make a motion.
Yes, Commissioner Keller.
Move to approve the letters of support on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners for community project funding requests.
Second.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Keller and a second by Commissioner Jacobson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion passes 5-0. Okay, we do have a letter of support here for Sutra Tunnel for possible action. Approved letter of support on behalf of the Board of Commissioners for Friends of the Sutro Tunnel. And that one looked good to me today. Everybody should have a chance to look at it. Do we have any updates or changes? Anything you want to say extra on that? Any commissioner comments, questions? If not, any public comment?
If I may, I
Oh,
just,
go ahead.
I just wanted to add that, you know, that they're looking at applying for some grant funding to continue the restoration work there, and so that's, that was the purpose of the letter.
Right.
So.
And
Make
it's-
sure everyone was aware of what it was about.
It's a really neat site. They've done a lot of excellent work there and continue to do so.
It's a great asset to.
It is. Okay, you see your hand there. You
Yes,
want to
yes.
do a motion?
Yeah, I'd love to do a motion. I'd move to approve a letter of support on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners for Friends of the Sutro Tunnel.
Have a second?
Second,
All right, we'll go with Commissioner Hendricks. So we have motion by Commissioner Keller and a second by Commissioner Hendricks. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Yeah, your pictures in it. 14E for possible action, discussion of the Public Lands Management Advisory Board and to provide direction to the county manager. And this was requested by Commissioner Henderson, read through the code and minutes and all that other stuff. Did you have anything to say initially? You want Commissioner Henderson?
You're gonna lead off and.
Yeah, no, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, and the reason I brought this forward is, you know, since I've been on this board, I've been zooming in on almost every planning commission meeting that they've had. And there's always an item on the agenda for public lands and natural resources, and there is never an agenda item on there. We have a lot of public lands and natural resources issues in this county that I think we need some board to advise us on. And the only way we get public lands issues now is if, you know, one of us hears about it from NACO or from National NACO or just find it. And also thinking about the makeup of the planning commission, I'm not sure that's the right skill set that we need on public lands issues. So just a thought, and this is just my thoughts, is that we separate it, even though I realize it was separate before, it didn't work, but whatever. We separate it and create a standalone public lands and natural resources advisory board. I think it could consist of up to 7 members with various interest groups, right? There should be one representative from agriculture, one from recreation, one from conservation, one from the Native American community, one from the mineral extraction community, and maybe 1 or 2 members from the general public. That's just my concept. There are a couple of counties, several counties in the state that have very active public lands committees. Nye County is one, Eureka County is another. But I think we need to do 2 things. Okay, we need to consider this, making it a separate board, or we need to direct staff to start putting public lands items on the planning commission agenda so that they can vet them for us. Personally, I think we ought to separate it because, as I said, I don't think the skill set of the planning commission is the skill set we want on the public lands committee, but that's just my thoughts. And so I'll just leave it at that.
Commissioner Keller.
That's kind of the direction I was looking at it too, going back and why they put it from this board down to there. We used to have ex officio from this board on the planning commission, and that isn't the right term. It was more of a liaison. And I remember Virgil Arellano sat on that, so did Vida. And then they bring stuff from NACO and inform them and make that connection. I wouldn't mind going with what Commissioner Henderson suggested, except I'd like to see 2 people from this board be on that board.
Okay, I'd have to do a little research on that, make sure, you know. Check with the district attorney's office.
Because the reason why I'm saying that is because we can bring stuff from NACO where we're getting more of a statewide and national that we can bring to that board and have that continuity.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I have to do a little bit of research and make sure that's something that we can do. You know, I know it was touched on a little bit, and we went back and looked at the meeting minutes from before, and it was kind of, the issue before was attendance. I think if you get the right people on that board and pretty selective about that, you could get people that are active and willing to participate in that.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, and I appreciate that, Mr. Haskin, because I agree that the effectiveness of a board is you get people on there that are passionate about it. And that, and not dissing on any of our members of our planning commission, they do great work. But like I said, I don't think that's the same skill set that we want for public lands.
And if you, I attached the ordinance, for the board to review as well. In order to change this, by the way, we would have to do a new ordinance, because it is in our county code. The ordinance almost seems to kind of conflict there because it does mention people of different backgrounds, but then it points to the planning commission. So I think, when that got changed, that there was some stuff that was kind of left out of the changes.
It would not have to meet monthly either. So it could be an easier board to attend for people with busy schedules.
And just to address that, one of the challenges currently, so you mentioned, that we should have some of those advisory questions on the planning commission if we were to stick with that route. Oftentimes we get a comment letter or, letter seeking comment, and we have 30 days to respond or 45 days to respond. So by the time you get it agendized on the planning commission, then you get it agendized at the county commission past that deadline. And or it's very tight, just depends on how that works out. So if you did have another board that just met when there were issues, I think it's easier to do that these days with Zoom and everything. Yeah, get that and get that advice and then move it right to the board of county commissioners. You can move faster.
Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. I think my train derailed again. So let me think a minute, go on.
Commissioner Keller, I think your hand is up.
Well, I was looking at our public lands policy that we have, and I don't know if this full board knows that we can go online and pick it up and look at it. And one of the things is to review it every year and bring it up, and it hasn't been reviewed for quite some time. So I've reached out to different counties and in the state and looked at theirs, and I think it needs some work.
Kind of what I'd like to do with that, I think moving forward would be to take a chapter each month and review it. And then, by the time you get around to the beginning, it's time to start again, or by the time to get around.
Can we take it back without changing the ordinance back onto this board because we were responsible for it before? And start doing that and get it to where we have one that we can hand off, or I don't know. What?
I don't know what you're talking about. I get lost.
I think I'm tracking. So what you're saying is to bring the responsibilities back to the Board of County Commissioners until, we have an updated plan, right?
Right, to update it to where we've got something to hand off to a committee or a commission.
So you would have to do an ordinance just because.
We'd still have to do it, so. Okay.
Okay, my train came back. So, and thank you, Mr. Chair. So talking about the timeline. The comment period starts, but before the comment period, there's stuff that's going on in the background with the development policy. And that's what we need to be cognizant of, and that we get from NACO, and that we get from National NACO. And hopefully our contract with RCI would include, there's, because they pay attention to everything.
Yeah.
And if something's coming down the pipe that we need to, they can refer that. And also the Porter Group in Washington, if something comes up that they hear about, they can let us know. So we have a lot of resources to feed information to this, but I think we're really missing the boat by not having an active public lands committee.
Okay, Commissioner
I
Hendrick.
do like the idea of doing this, but I would like to see it include some way of bringing what the commissioners are learning on the NACO Public Lands and Natural Resources Board to get it incorporated into that, so that whoever's on that board is going to have as much information as possible.
Further? Okay, any public input? I don't see any hands. I think it is a rather confusing agenda item, but I'm pretty sure I know we need to move along with something. But do you have an idea of how you want to? Oh, Commissioner Jacobson.
One thing I was just thinking of, as far as we're talking about, if this new commission does come in to the fold, I'm guessing that aside from someone from the mines or what, or some of those agriculture, whatever. I'm guessing another item to be considered is just different parts of our county included because of the diversity within our county. So is that something that would also want to be taken into account that is on that commission?
Mr. Chair, if I may, yeah, that's why I included 2 general public positions in there. So, and we could, have one north-south, set it up however we want it, something like that. But I do want just public participation, which is why I had the general public positions in there.
Kind of, I'm looking a little bit of, we're looking at an update, need to update. And then once we get it updated, we can hand off the information to a committee that we're looking at. So basically, I'm kind of getting together what we might have to do for a motion here for the county manager, but go ahead, Commissioner Keller.
If this lands bill goes through, then we won't have any public lands north of Silver Springs, right? Because the Fernley is going to pretty much become private.
There will be some, but it'll be considerably less than there is now.
So I'm looking then. Any public comment, but so we're kind of looking at how to direct the county manager for an update and change and
I can try.
okay, try again. You brought it up.
I brought it up.
Good
Yes,
idea.
I did, and I'm glad I did because
That's right.
I think this is important.
Yes.
So I would like to move, we direct the county manager to research the creation of a public lands and natural resource advisory committee, including a draft ordinance, with direction to consult with other counties that have active resource committees to make sure we set it up right.
Okay.
Okay. Just to get their input.
What about the review process
Review.
of our current land?
Right.
Our current
Yeah,
language?
I already asked for that. I asked for that agenda item last month.
Oh, okay.
So that part's coming.
All right. So we've got the review and this one is just basically to look into the new committee.
Right.
Okay. So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All right. Motion by Commissioner Henderson and a second by Commissioner Keller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
A
Thank you.
quick comment on that.
Quick comment, go ahead.
Can
Commissioner Keller.
you make sure check with the DA and everything about if we could have 2 commissioners, because we have 2 that sit on public lands and probably national public lands. Right now, Wes does sit on that.
Yep.
So to me, that would be something that would actually help steer that committee, or not steer, but keep it focused.
Yeah, I'll do the research on that. I suspect it is possible, but I want to make sure.
It'd probably be the same too.
Just a comment. It'd probably be ex officio, I think,
Yeah.
but. Oh,
Okay,
Thanks.
good job on that. 15, District Attorney. And 15A, while you're walking up here, for possible action, approve posting for vacancies for Deputy District Attorney, DDA, 1 or 2, depending on experience with funding from existing budget if a position is filled as a DDA 2.
Good morning, I'm sorry. Elisa Fogel, Deputy District Attorney here on behalf of the DA's office. We are asking you to approve our desire to post a vacancy in either the 1 or 2 positions, because frankly, we might conceivably need someone in the 2 position, because that would be a posting for a more experienced, shall we say, criminal deputy, and that's basically what we need. So that's what we're asking for, is for you to approve our posting of a vacancy. I believe we already have a posting for a vacancy, but we want to expand that or make sure that we're posting it as either a 1 or a 2.
Okay, any questions? Public input? Motion for approval of this?
Chairman Hockaday, I move that we approve the posting for a vacancy for the Deputy District Attorney, 1 or 2, depending on the experience, with the funding from existing budget if position is filled as a DDA 2.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second. Oh,
Okay.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Commissioner. So motion by Commissioner Jacobson and a second by Commissioner Hendricks. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. And we're going to 15B for possible action, approve agreement for legal services with Marquis Arbach Charter to provide general services to the county and district attorney's office to be funded in fiscal year 24 from the existing district attorney budget.
Again, Elisa Fogel, Deputy District Attorney, I've been asked to handle this item as well. I'm sure you all know and from past experience that we've had to hire outside counsel for various matters that we have here in the office. I'm primarily the civil deputy and I handle a lot of all the administrative type things, but I frankly don't have a whole lot of time to be handling as well as I could conceivably be, hopefully, the litigation that we have that goes on. Marquis Auerbach is a good firm. I know of them myself. We're getting a hell of a deal as far as their hourly rate is concerned. So I know that the fellow that we've had working for us before out of Thorndal is in the process of easing out of the practice of law and retiring. So this is essentially to replace him. It's my understanding, although I wasn't. I'm saying that myself, but I do know that Marquis Auerbach is a good firm and we're getting a great deal. So I would ask the board to approve our association hiring and contracting with Marquis Auerbach to help us handle the litigation matters that we do have.
Okay. I noticed the salary or the hourly wage was very reasonable for
Very reasonable.
legal.
I don't know anybody in that firm who's billing less than, I mean, at that rate and usually about double that rate. So
True. Okay, so that sounds good. Have any commissioner comments or questions? Any public comments? If not, a motion on item 15B.
I move that we approve the agreement for legal services with Marquis Auerbach CHTD MAC to provide general services to the county and district attorney's office to be funded in FY 24 from the existing district attorney budget salaries.
Second.
Second.
All right.
1 second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Hendrickson, a second by Commissioner Jacobson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Mr. Chair, can you
Thank you,
take
ma'am.
5?
thank you very much. We
Five,
appreciate it.
5 minutes. Boy. All right, we'll take 5 minutes. We'll go till 11 o'clock and no later. You're good.
Oh, very nice. I know you did that.
That was a courtesy.
Right?
It was a courtesy tap.
Yeah.
All right, it's 11 o'clock. Everybody's back in their seat. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. We'll move on to board appointments and resignations. I see Ms. Lopez up there. Move on to 16A for possible action. Appoint up to 3 members to the Smith Valley Park and Recreation Advisory Board with terms expiring December 31st, 2025. And we have Alice Horton as an applicant, reapplying for the board. Any commissioner comments? Any public comments? I'll take a motion on Ms. Horton's application.
Make a motion.
Okay.
Move to appoint Alice Horton to the Smith Valley Park and Recreation Advisory Board with
Okay.
her term expiring December 31st, 2025.
And I'll second that one. So motion by Commissioner Keller and a second by Commissioner Hockaday. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. 16B for possible action, appoint up to 1 member to the Smith Valley Advisory Board with a term expiring December 31st, 2025. 1 applicant, Marshall Hartman. Any commissioner comments on that? Any public comments on that? Having none, I'll go ahead and make a motion to appoint Marshall Hartman to the Smith Valley Advisory Board with a term expiring December 31st, 2025. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Hockaday and second by Commissioner Henderson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. 16C for possible action, acknowledge resignation from resignation letter actually from Terry Davis from the Lyon County Library Board of Trustees. Okay. Any public commissioner comments other than I'm going to say thank you very much for service to the library board. Commissioner Jacobson? Oh, yeah, in a minute, just a second. Any commissioner comments on that? All right,
Hi, for the record, Gwen Prindle, I'm the Director of Lyon County Library System. I just wanted to thank Terry for her years of service to the Lyon County Library System, not just as a trustee, but as a friend of the library, as a general supporter of the library, and for her years of service. Thank you.
Yep. And thank you on that. And I'm looking, Commissioner Jacobson usually has a
Thank you for being here, man. With public, you already asked for public. I'd just like to make a motion that we accept and thank Terry Davis for years of service on the Library Board of Trustees and accept her letter of resignation.
Second.
Okay, all right. We have any other comments from commissioners on that? No? All right, motion by Commissioner Jacobson and a second by Commissioner Keller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. And again, thank you very much, Terry Davis. A lot of work and appreciate everybody helping out in the community. Item 17, utilities, 17A. For possible action, approve a contract with Manhart Consulting for an amount not to exceed $47,500 for engineering services for the Smoky Hills Water Main Replacement Project in Dayton. And yes.
Chairman Hockaday,
Yeah.
Commissioners, David Burkett for the record. So the Smoky Hills Water Main Project, back is a replacement project, a water line replacement project. It's out by the Rolling A treatment plant, back in 20 and 21. We had catastrophic failures of that line. It's been off since. It's a water transmission main that we have. And so Manhard went under private contract to a private developer to design a replacement for that line. And now we're getting ready to move forward to this construction phase. So we're proposing to hire Manhard as the consulting engineer. Since they did the design of it, we have to bring them on for engineering services. They would help us prepare a bid for the project and then serve as engineer for construction services during the build of that project.
Commissioner Henderson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. How old was the line?
I don't remember the exact year, probably 15, 20 years, but the water line was part of that JM pipe, problems that JM pipe had, and they had catastrophic failure. So the line definitely needs to be replaced.
And again, we have no way to recoup any of this money
Yeah, that's
because,
all been settled.
Okay.
Past
Right.
history.
all right, thank you.
Anything further from commissioners? Any questions? Any public input? No public input? Okay. So we'll have a motion on 18A. Do that, Commissioner Keller?
Sorry, 17A,
Oh.
sorry.
I'm sorry, 17A. I popped down the wrong one. Motion on 17A.
I move to approve a contract with Manhart Consulting for the amount not to exceed $47,500 for engineering services for the Smoky Hills Water Main Replacement Project in Dayton.
Any second on that?
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Keller and second by Commissioner Hendricks. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. In our recess to reconvene as Silver Springs General Improvement District. It's actually in the district board, we have a contract here. Normally we have public comment to begin each of those
Yeah, I
reconvene.
know.
Yeah, so there is a public comment input here. All those that want to make a public comment, you have 3 minutes. Please state your name for the record. And I don't see anybody. So we'll go ahead and get down to 18A for possible action, approve a contract with Parks and Corporation for an amount not to exceed $609,952 for the purchase of equipment and services to replace the Biolac aeration system at the Silver Springs General Improvement District wastewater treatment plant.
Chairman
Mr.
Huckleberry,
Burketta.
Commissioners, David Burketta again for the record. So this is out in Silver Springs at the wastewater treatment plant. And the heart of any wastewater treatment plant is its aeration system. This system here is about 20 years old. It's in bad shape, needs to be replaced. It is done through the current system that we have is a registered trademark of Parkson. So we need to replace it with another registered trademark where we have to do a complete redesign of the system. So we're proposing to have Parkson come replace the equipment, all the equipment associated with this aeration system out there at the treatment plant. The good news with this is that we do have 80% funding of this through the ARPA funding through the state. So they're going to cover 80% of this cost.
That's great. Okay. Any questions from commissioners on the project? Any public input? Seeing none, I will look for a motion for 18A.
Chairman Hockley, I'll make a motion that we approve the contract with Parks and Corporation for the amount not to exceed $609,952 for the purchase of equipment and services to replace the Biolac aeration system at the Silver Springs General Improvement District wastewater treatment plant.
Okay,
Second.
all right, motion by Commissioner Jacobson, second by Commissioner Henderson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. All right, and as we normally have the public comment at the end of this before we jump out of Silver Springs General Improvement. Anybody wishing to make a public comment may do so. You have 3 minutes. State your name for the record. I see nobody coming up, then nobody on Zoom, so we will adjourn to reconvene as the Liquor Board for Lyon County. Same thing here. Anybody have a public comment? Seeing no public comment, then we will move on to 19A for possible action, approve Nevada State Importer Wholesaler Liquor License application for MJH Enterprises, doing business as Lakeshore Premium Wines and Spirits per NRS 369.200. Yes,
Good
ma'am.
morning.
Yes.
Stacy Lumber, Lyon County Clerk Treasurer for the record, here to present the application for your review for the MJH Enterprise doing business as Lakeshore Premium Wines and Spirits. So I can answer any questions or provide information that you may need in regards to their application.
Any questions or comments?
So they live in Montana?
Yes, they originally applied in Carson or in Carson City and in Lyon County for distribution centers. The zoning was incorrect in Carson, and then we've approved and ready to issue their Lyon County business license once the state issues this, and it's a state requirement for them to, since they're wholesaler, the wholesale distribution portion of it is why they require the local commission to approve the application prior to them issuing their license.
Any other questions or comments from commissioners? Any public input on this? If not, we'll look for a motion on 19A.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve Nevada State Importer / Wholesaler Liquor License application for MJH Enterprises doing business as Lakeshore Premium Wines and Spirits per NRS 369.200.
Second.
Second with Commissioner Keller. A motion by Commissioner Henderson and a second by Commissioner Keller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Yeah.
Oh,
6.
sure.
He's part of
Liquor board includes the sheriff
Yes.
services.
Oh, okay. And the sheriff says, sheriff, we've got the 6-0. I'm sorry, I didn't see you behind the computer there raising your hand, so next time just stand in front of me. That'd be great. All right. Or behind me. I'm always good either way with the law enforcement.
I don't like trucks behind me. I like to
Yes.
see them.
All right. So, wow. We are going to have public comment on that before we adjourn to reconvene. Any public comment on that liquor board information? I see no public comment, nobody standing up, nobody on Zoom. So we will adjourn to reconvene as the Lyon County Board of Commissioners. Item 20, agenda requests. We'll start with Commissioner Jacobson.
Thank you, Chairman Hockaday. I'm not sure if I'm ready to make a request, but I see the Washoe County Board of Commissioners showed a letter or no support for the Unis Mail moving the hub from Reno to Sacramento. I have received some concern from some folks in Fernley regarding they're nervous about not getting their medication through the mail with snow events or other traffic type issues over the hill. And I guess I'm looking for a little bit of maybe from our DA or county manager or fellow commissioners, if we feel that we should maybe show no support for this as well. I know that the folks that I've chatted with are very concerned about the move as they do receive their medications. And then I also believe that another person receives their income through the mail and they're, I guess, lack of a better word, probably living paycheck to paycheck, and they're worried about not getting it on the day when they're or near the day that they're supposed to. I know we just had I-80 closed for 3 days, and that could cause some stress, obviously, for some folks that may be waiting on, especially prescription drugs or whatever they may need for health issues. So I'm just curious if we want to join Washoe County's Board of Commission and maybe voice that we want to keep the hub here in the Reno area, or if it's not something we want to do.
Commissioner Keller?
I would definitely support a resolution against that too. I'm getting it from the other side on the political world. We just went through a fiasco with mail out ballots and everything else, and we spent how many $1 million on that. And now for us to send our ballots to another state before they come back to our state is just asking for bad stuff to happen. So I would definitely support that resolution. I know Commissioner Amade, I'm Commissioner, Congressman Amade, I downgraded him. He already sent a letter out against that too. I would like to see an agenda item coming forward about the NACO meeting in Tampa, so we can get the early bird special, so we don't pay as much.
Okay. Commissioner Hendricks, any agenda requests? Commissioner Henderson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I would like for us to invite a representative from NB Energy to come here and talk about all the power outages that we have been experiencing in Silver Springs and Mount House and throughout the county. And as to why, I know they're not all weather related, but as to why and what actions they're going to take so that this situation goes away.
Anything further from the commissioners on agenda requests? And I don't have any at this time. We'll move on to commissioner comments. We'll go with Commissioner Hendricks.
Nothing at this time.
Nothing. Commissioner Henderson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a shout out to all the basketball fans out there. This is your month. There are tournaments. In fact, as soon as we get out of here, I'm going to go watch one. The tournament started today and they run through April. So if you're a basketball fan, enjoy.
Commissioner Keller?
I don't have anything.
Commissioner Jacobson?
Thank you, Chairman Hockaday. I just want to thank Louis Carriola, our Code Enforcement Officer Michael Johnson, and of course, Miss Donna Cup for all they've done for Lyon County, and I know Lewis is sticking on with us, thankfully. But a big shout out to Michael Johnson with Code Enforcement and Miss Donna Cup for 34 years of service. And it was something to see all our friends and family here today and celebrating with her, and even though it's kind of a sad day for Lyon County.
Also like to say the same thing. 34 years is a long time to work for one employer, and we appreciate that dedication. And it's sad to see our code enforcement leave, and we just got to keep looking for good people to fill in and take care of the work. Start off by thanking Commissioner Jacobson for signing up for another run at a term for commissioner. The job is pretty busy at times.
She did too.
Oh, and I didn't know you signed up yet, and Commissioner Hendricks. We still have another week for people to sign up. I want to thank you too for looking forward to putting in more time for another 4-year term. We've got a new helicopter service coming into Yerington. I just heard about it last night. I don't have all the details, but it sounds like a pretty good company moving in, and they will be allowing us to have quicker service in Mason Valley and Smith Valley. So that was kind of good to hear. I'll keep listening up to find out what we have for details, and hopefully I can bring some more details next time about how it's going to work out. The Hillcrest cleanup, Hillcrest Cemetery cleanup will be on the 20th of April, and it's pretty much going to be run by the Smith Valley Rotary Club and the community. But he gets together to take care of the cemetery out there and make it look as nice as it always does. And also just to thank you to the Walker Association. I appreciated the update on the interim legislative session, read through that, things that are going on with our legislature in between sessions. And it's pretty interesting to hear what they have in store for us during the next legislative session. We'll keep our eyes open. That's about all I have on commissioner comments. We'll move down to the final public participation. There'll be no action taken on any item until it's properly agendized. It's anticipated the public participation will be held at this time, though it may be returned to at any time during the agenda. Citizens wishing to speak during public participation are asked to state their name for the record and will be limited to 3 minutes. The board will conduct public comment after discussion of each agenda action item, but before we take any action. Having said that, do we have any further public comments? If not, I don't see anything on Zoom. Do we have a closed session?
Yes, we do.
Oh, lucky us.
That's why,
Okay. I will.
that's why you're
yeah.
back there.
I will adjourn the regular meeting at 11:20.